I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk at work, including by people who worked with you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Do you think you're being Kavanaugh'd right now?
I had a member look me in the eye in private, just he and I, and say, that's what they're trying to do to you.
Well, folks, Pete Hegseth is in no enviable position today, as in this breaking story, he had to grit his teeth to get grilled not only by an enormous panel of senators during the first of many Senate confirmation hearings in which Donald Trump starts his assault on the White House by hurling Fox News hosts at the walls to see who sticks, but also, as we'll see in this humiliating moment I have coming up for you, he has to deal with getting humiliated by bystanders in the crowd as well. In fact, there were a number of protesters in the crowd that got escorted out who were also members of the military.
Shame on all of you! We need money! We need money for veterans committing suicide!
CBS News has confirmed that Pete Hegseth was forced to step down from a veterans nonprofit after being accused of alcohol abuse, sexual misconduct, and mismanaging the group's money.
One in particular managed to drop an absolute gem of an attack at the perfect moment that we'll see coming up. And that is something that Hegseth is probably pretty unfamiliar with. After all, his previous workplace, Fox News, was incredibly sycophantic, and I can't imagine Jesse Waters or any of the other faux news propaganda mouthpiece stooges ever stood up to him for his misogynistic behavior or drunken debauchery.
The report says Hegseth was repeatedly intoxicated to the point of needing to be carried out of the organization's events.
So inebriated by 1 a.m. that a staffer who had driven him to his hotel in a van full of other drunken staffers asked for assistance to get Hegseth to his room.
Hegseth passed out in the back of a party bus, then urinated in front of a hotel where CVA's team was staying.
At one point, Hegseth had to be restrained while drunk from joining the dancers on the stage of a Louisiana strip club.
Wow. Do you know how hard it is to be the saddest thing at a strip club? I mean...
You know what they say, folks.
If you're too drunk for Fox News, you're very, very drunk indeed.
Based off that knowledge, do you think Hegseth might have been sipping the scissor before this little incident?
With the axe. Who's going to win this battle of the lumberjacks? That's coming up next. I'm putting my money on Clayton.
I'm just asking questions, and I'm not the only one. So let's dive into today's hearing where Hegseth was on his best behavior, by which I mean only one Bloody Mary to start the day at 6 a.m. and then a mimosa out the door, and that's it. After all, he not only has to look presentable, but he probably wanted to wine and dine himself just a little bit before the Senate f***ed him.
Well, then could we at least pull up here and get some dinner? Because I like to be wined and dined after I've been
By enforcing the Uniform Code of Military Justice, UCMJ, in addition to the sexual assault allegations, and by the way, the answer to my second question should have been yes. I have read multiple reports of your regularly being drunk at work, including by people who worked with you at Fox News. Do you know that being drunk at work is prohibited for service members under the UCMJ?
Senator, those
Yes
are
or no?
multiple false anonymous reports peddled by NBC
Do you
News
know
that run directly to the dozens of men and women at Fox News who I work with who came on the record
to my question.
and said they
In your
never
opening
seen
statement,
that.
Mr. Hegseth, you commit to holding leaders accountable at all levels. That includes you, of course.
Wow, hard to believe it can get more humiliating than that, but trust me, it does. Even though that one was almost a direct replica of when reporters asked him about being drunk on the job last month.
We are talking with every senator that wants to talk to us, and the conversations we have with senators are, of course, going to remain.
Yeah, Pete, you're not going to dignify much, especially when you remember that Pete Hegseth's own mother declined to testify in his defense at these hearings.
But we are broken by your behavior and your lack of character.
Which is telling, because even though she tried to walk this back, she had some pretty harsh words for him about his own misogynistic behavior. It only seems to back up and support the credibility of this bystander who got up to humiliate Hegseth during the hearing.
Over the weekend, the New York Times reported on an email that his mother had sent to him amid a contentious divorce. And this is what she wrote about, again, her own son. Quote, "I have no respect for any man that belittles, lies, cheats, sleeps around, and uses women for his own power and ego. You are that man and have been for years. And as your mother, it pains me and embarrasses me to say that, but it is the sad, sad truth."
You know, Mom, the least you could do is kiss me first, because I like to be kissed before I get
If I was gonna my son, I'd kiss him first.
And things did not get better from there, folks, because as Hegseth was delivering his opening remarks where he said this,
Instead, a small handful of anonymous sources were allowed to drive a smear campaign and agenda about me because our left-wing media in America today, sadly, doesn't care about the truth.
completely unironically, as a literal Fox host, this absolute hero in the crowd decided to set the tone for the hearing by standing up and letting Pete know how he really feels about him.
Thank you for figuratively and literally having my back.
You are a misogynist. Not only that, you are a Christian Zionist. And you support the war in Gaza by the Zionists.
I want to thank the authorities for their swift reaction to that outburst and state that similar interruptions will be treated in like manner.
Literally right after Hegseth thanks people for having his back, somebody gets up from behind his back and calls him a misogynist. If that doesn't perfectly encapsulate what jokes this man and this hearing are, frankly, I don't know what does.
But yeah, he seems to have nailed the alcoholism. Let's hear about the sexual misconduct.
Hegseth and other members of the management team sexually pursued the organization's female staffers, whom they divided into two groups, the party girls and the not party girls.
Okay, let me just check this real quick.
And if you enjoyed Pete Hegseth getting humiliated not only in the congressional hearing, but here on the Really American channel, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned as we bring you more coverage of this confirmation hearing coming throughout the day. Thanks for watching, folks. For Really American, I'm Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Oh, I've got a better idea. Why don't you go across the street and buy some condoms? Because we should at least be safe if you're gonna f me, Mom.
Yeah, I saw that story as well, and you're kind of shocked by it. It's one thing to have your political opponents attack you, but it's pretty damning when your mother, a letter is uncovered where your mother is talking about your character and integrity and how you treat women.
You wanna f me, Mom? Just say so. Go ahead, here. Go ahead, Mom. F me. F me right here in the best bag.